I'm Eve. I am the programmer, program producer and curator at Palace Projects. So I'm going to lead you through a presentation of the guidelines and hopefully answer any questions that you have. But then if there's any further questions at the end, you can ask, and don't be afraid to drop the questions into the chat box throughout the whole time. And then at the end, if you want to use your microphone, that's perfectly okay as well. Um, if everyone could make sure that they're muted, just so that if you guys are talking in the background, it doesn't interrupt other people as well listening, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you'll be able to see our presentation. Okay, Mia, does that look good?
Yep, it's all good.
Okay, thank you. So thanks everyone for coming. There's a lot more people than we expected. Okay, I'm just going to allow recording locally as well. That just popped up there. So, sorry, my notes are down here. So I'm going to look this direction while you guys look at the screen. So this is kind of a repeat of the text that's available on our website, but maybe with just some added information for myself as well. So the Arts Initiative Projects is an Arts Council funded open submission gallery program at Palace Projects, which we aim for to be highly accessible to artists. And it's presented in the context of an established gallery space. We are dedicated to the development of artists in a peer-led supportive environment. So we focus on emerging early career artists and recent graduates who demonstrate their potential with the quality of their work. Another thing I'd like to add to that as well is outside of people who would consider themselves emerging artists, a lot of people who have applied and have exhibited are people who are maybe taking a risk in their own practice. So it might be like a change of medium or a kind of test site like that. So we're not limiting to those people exactly. So what is different about the way that we format the program is that it's a relatively short turnaround time of 3 to 9 months. So if you are accepted, you would find out, well, this year we're doing everything a little bit earlier. You'd find out before Christmas, and then the first exhibitions are in March, and then they run from March to November next year. So it is a relatively short turnaround as opposed to other galleries who might work over like a 3-year program. So this allows the program to be responsive and to reflect what artists are currently making. And as I said, encourages experimentation and risk taking. So I'm going to go on to, sorry now, one of my screens is frozen. So there's two sets of guidelines depending on if you are an individual applying for a solo presentation or if you're working with collaborators either as a two-person or group exhibition, or we have had socially engaged artists present a collaborative exhibition, so they would be their collaborators. So at the beginning of the Google form, which we ask everyone to fill out, you can select if you're an individual or a two-person or a group. So that's really important because there's two different amount of funding. So we have €1,000 of a fee for production and artist fee for individuals, and then 2,000 for the two-person and group shows. So this funding, we're glad to say, is up from previous years that we just been awarded that by the Arts Council to increase the funding. So we try to keep the application as simple as possible, that it's one page of text outlining your proposal and a proposed event or outreach aspect, including targeted audiences. So the outreach aspect is really important to us because we want artists to think about who the work is for, who they could introduce into the space, and to to think, sorry, just muting, to think about audiences that aren't specifically art audiences that they can interact with. We ask for a brief biography, and for individuals, a maximum of 10 images, and for groups, a maximum of 15. And so we've said here that examples of previous and proposed work, because we did have a lower amount of images for last year. We've increased that because sometimes people are pitching work that is not yet made yet. So we would like to see examples of the work in progress or plans for the work, but also finished works that they may have previously made. It just gives us a bit more insight into how you work and how you would present in the space. And then there's also the option to add links to a video or audio work. So if people are working in video, what can be really helpful there is that it's a video, which is a compilation of previous works, rather than us looking at multiple links to view multiple videos. And then we also ask for your CV, including any recent forthcoming shows. And then for the group shows, we also add in a CV of a curator or coordinator if applicable, but like that could may be applicable to an individual application also. So if anyone has any questions as you're going along, do drop it into the chat, and then Mia, just let me know if I should answer straight away. So we've also we've been approved for access funds for next year's program for the first time, which we're really pleased about. And then we've also been thinking about ways to make the application process more accessible. And one of the ways was suggested to us was that a video application or a sound recording application could be preferred. So it basically stated anything under 6 minutes. It doesn't have to be a full 6 minutes. And we're looking for the same information. And it's totally up to you how you would prefer to present it, between it being fully incorporated into a video, like it could be a visual application rather than a text application, or a bit of both. Or you could include, see, I have these first 4 items: the proposal, biography, everything that could be within the video, and then you could add a PDF with the further items separately. So we've kind of left this loose on purpose because we're learning how to do this at the minute, and we just want to keep it open so people can choose what would work best for them to communicate in the way that makes them the most comfortable and that they feel would be best presentation of their own work.
Sorry, Eve, there's just a few questions in the chat there. Someone asks if you require a budget outline as well, and if there is a collaborator just with the outreach aspect, is that considered individual or group?
So, well, first of all, we don't ask for a budget. The fee is what it is, and but we don't ask an outline of how you're going to spend it. I would note that the fee is for an exhibition production rather than work production. Yeah, we would say for the individual, it's €1,000 fee. We're going to give that to you as an artist fee production budget, no matter what you spend for the actual show. And we're glad to do that. And then if there's a collaborator, oops, sorry. Just with the outreach aspect, is that considered? So if the collaborator was just with the outreach aspect, that would be considered an individual application. We also have €100 of a fee that can be additional €100 of a fee that can be used for paying someone to come in, say if you wanted them to talk at the outreach aspect, but that would be an individual exhibition, and then the person would just come in for that aspect. I hope that makes sense. And then images of proposed work for a painter can be works in progress. So Sarah, yes, they can be works in progress, but it's really helpful for us to also see some finished works, so that we can see maybe what these works would be like at the end. Thanks, Mia. Was helpful. Okay, I'll go on to the next slide. And then, so we've had a lot of interest from international applicants, and we don't put any barriers on people applying based on if they're from Ireland or from elsewhere or living in Ireland. But the one thing that we would note is that the artist initiated projects are envisioned to be self-initiated. Palace as a DIY space. We aim to support artists to put the shows on themselves as like exhibition building as part of artistic practice. So artists do need to be on site to install the shows, to deinstall the shows, and then for any outreach aspects if it's not online. So just to take that into consideration. So we've said here it's primarily aimed at artists who are living or working in Ireland. This has in the past been artists who have previously been based in Ireland and then are abroad. They kind of have that network here that can support them to be in Dublin and to just have people even to come to the opening and help out. So it is really just for practical needs, because even with the increased fee, that wouldn't support an international artist to exist in Dublin for 3 weeks. And we wouldn't want artists to be spending their exhibition fee in order to do that. So as it says here, if an artist can show feasibility due to other supports or funding, so this could be that you're on residency or are engaged in some other practice in Ireland or nearby, we consider all projects, but just to keep that in mind as part of the feasibility remit. How long would each show be on for? So for 3 weeks is the run of the show. So what usually happens is an artist would install on the Monday. We would open on the Thursday, and the show would be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the following 2 weeks as well. We open from Thursday to Saturday. So artists can have their outreach events during that time. Sometimes the outreach events might be in collaboration with a school or workshops. They can take place outside of the usual gallery hours as well. So what is the maximum length of a linked video work? I think it's very useful to maybe send a short clip of a specific part of a video that you want us to see. I would say maximum 10 minutes, just due to time pressure of going through the applications. That would probably be the maximum that we could give to any video within a work or within an application. But if there's a specific part that you would like us to see, I would time it or edit it so that that is a segment from a larger piece and view this section. And that would be really helpful. Does Palace provide equipment or technical needs? And if so, how much? So we have projectors and speakers, a couple of different types of speakers and amps and projectors. And we have tools and all of those kind of things. We often have a technician who can assist the artist to install their show. But this would very much be in an assistant capacity. So the artist would need to have thought about the how to install everything beforehand, and we would have that conversation. We would have a meeting and assist the artist in doing that. Nola, does that help with that question, or is there anything else? Would I have to do workshops as part of my cultural outreach? No, so for the outreach, it doesn't have to be a workshop. It doesn't have to be an artist talk. It can be a creative event in any way that you want it to be. We've had people do performances. We've had people sing and play instruments as opposed to doing an artistic performance, a visualized performance, I should say. It can really be anything, and we would really encourage the events to be as niche and specific as possible. So we've had people propose to have kind of Dungeons and Dragons style gaming nights based on the area with a very specific board game. So anything that you can propose at all is great for us. Do we facilitate some? No, no, look, the technical assistance would be included as well. So we have someone who is here, and usually they would be available for the 3 days of installation. So I think no problem. In the PDF that's available on the website, it does say that we have support in terms of publicity, communications, technical assistance, curatorial support. So all of that is additional to the fee. We would do that all in-house. So that would be, we have a printed advert every year for the whole program, and then we boost posts on social media to just kind of expand the reach, and then we do all our listings and mailing list and all of those kind of things just to try and get a bigger audience, which we've built up over the years. And then as well as that, meetings with us so we can help you figure out the best way to install and make a plan ahead of the actual installation. We do have monitors as well as projectors. At the minute, I think we have about 5 monitors of various flat screen sizes. And we also have a VR headset, which may be worth noting. So here we are on the sports. So production budget, and so that's production budget, artist fee. So that is just handed straight over to you. You don't need to provide receipts of the production of the exhibition. And then 2,000 for group exhibitions. And then provide cover for all associated gallery costs, rental insurance, invigilation, printed and online ads, publicity, sponsored social media, professional photographic and video documentation. And then the talk event fees, we usually have €100. If people, whoops, I'm sorry. If people are would pitch for something that would involve more than one person, we're definitely open to that and can see how we can support in other ways. So the video documentations as well. At the minute, we are aiming to provide each artist with videos of their entire process of exhibiting with us. So it would be partially the installation and then the opening event and kind of documentation of the room, and an interview as well if the artist is comfortable with that, so then they can use that for future applications. So the next section is a video of the actual application process. Yes, Tammy, you can apply and have more than one application, and there's no limitation on applying from the same email. We turned that off. So this is a video of the application process. We do have images of it through the link on the website as well. It does come up quite small though, because it's a screenshot of the form. So this is actually linking to the 2023 open call that we had on our website. But if you go to the Get Involved page, everything is there. So it would be palaceprojects.org/get involved. I'm just going to pause that for a second here. So this is our Get Involved page. So through here where it has guidelines and gallery map, if you click into that, it has images of the application form. It also has the guidelines in various formats. And then there's also an image of the gallery map. Below it, you can see there's a 3D gallery plan so that you can manipulate it and see it from all angles. And then there's the link to the Google application form here. So the Google application form is where we would like you to submit everything. Anya, if selected, is the specific exhibition 3 weeks on flexible? So yes, we within the application have a question about what dates are suitable to you. So obviously it depends on the project. Some people might have the exhibition ready to go. Other people might be working around other deadlines. So we would ask that you pitch us dates. Like some people are very specific and would say these 3 weeks in March, these 3 weeks in June. Other people, it's around maybe work or family commitments or education. So they would say either, during the summer, not during the summer. And it's really helpful for us if you give us a few dates that we can look at. So after we have gone through all the applications and kind of whittled it down, we will look and see how we can spread it out over the calendar so that we can make everybody usually we try to give everyone their first choice, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And in that case, we would email people and see how we can be flexible together to make sure that everyone can fit in. Will I be able to access the recording? Yes, we will put this on YouTube tomorrow and we'll do a post on Instagram once it's ready to go. And we'll put the link in our Instagram. One new message. So we fund 8 artists or 8 exhibitions a year. So it's we usually get over 200 applications, so it is a big drop down. So we're totally aware that 8 is very limiting, but hopefully a few of those exhibitions can be group shows is our aim, and that we can support as many artists as possible through that. Okay, I'm going to press play on this again. So this first page, you literally just have to put your email in. You do have to put your email or it will not let you go to the next page. And then we have your names, pronouns, applying for solo, 2-person or group show, your address, your phone number, and then a website if you have one. Social media, if you have one. It's not necessary for you to have either of these things. It's just helpful for us if we want to see more about you and the kind of artwork that you make. Art forms can be very, pause this again. You can include as many as are relevant in your application. And then here's where we ask for the dates sought. So any 3-week period, and we will be flexible with you as well. And then here we just ask for a very brief description of your project. So like a brief description that I have written here, just as an example, it's just like a soundbite so we understand the overall of your project. So this is an example, a solo exhibition of large-scale paintings of cultural spaces in the city which don't exist anymore, a workshop on how to self-organize cultural events to push back against this loss of space, inviting groups which already self-organize in the city, plus students and artists generally. So that brief description gives an overview of the kind of work you make and what the work is about, what your event could be, and then who you would consider to invite into the space. Okay. Then this next page lists again what we ask for within your PDF. And then we also have a note here about the option to include a video or sound recording if you prefer not to include everything as a text document and upload it as a PDF. So here you can upload anything that is in PDF format. Here you can add your link to video or sound pieces, and it can be both. You can put 2 links here if you have both video and a sound piece. And then the next page is where you can upload a video as your application if you wish. So here we have a little bit about your access needs. So this will be kept confidential. So this is not going to be taken into consideration during your when we're judging your application. This is mainly for us so that we know that we can provide additional supports and communicate with people in the right way when we are giving people their dates. Some people might also need an extended installation time. So when we're making our schedule for the year, we'll take that into account. But this is all after we've decided who's going to be exhibited. Artists are very welcome to share whatever they're comfortable sharing here, but they can also tell us anything after they've already been approved for an exhibition, if that's helpful. So here we have the link as well to include your video. So as we've got, please include the links beginning with www. The best way to share a video with us is to upload it to YouTube, and then add the link, because just sending large file sizes can be very difficult. I'm just going to close my window as there's fireworks going off. I'm going to go back to this little bit here about the images. So image requirements. So within your PDF, if you can please make sure that the images are, like, imagine an A4 PDF, you have one image per page. So a maximum of 10 pages, but then also your text about yourself and the exhibition as well. So it's really helpful for us that each image has a description underneath. And this can be a really good way with any applications to get over word limits and provide additional context. So it says here, please label the work as previous work or proposed work, just so we know. It might be really obvious to you how it works, but it's really helpful for us. And then here where it says, please note you will not be able to remove or swap images once you've submitted them. That was when we were having individual images uploaded. So it actually be, once you've uploaded your PDF, you can't remove it and add a new one. So just please make sure you're really happy with your PDF before you upload it. Okay. And then that is the entire application process. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then if anyone has any questions, whether they'd like to do it over the chat or the microphone, you're very welcome to ask.
Hey, is it all right if I come in and ask a question?
Yeah, totally.
Thanks for that. It was very helpful, all the information you give. I just wanted to ask in regards to performance art,
Mhm.
is there a way that, like, does it have to be 3 weeks long? Do you know, because I was thinking if you were doing a performance art piece, that was the main piece you wanted to put forward. I don't think I want to do 3 weeks long.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable. It's a great question. So this year we had an exhibition by Bog Cottage. So they're a collaborative art group. So they chose to have an extended installation period as part of their 3 weeks because they brought in collaborators. So they essentially used their first week, that would have been like the opening night and everything, to work in the space and use it as kind of an open studio. So and then they chose to open it the second week. So they only opened, say, like 2 weekends out of 3 weekends. So there are ways to kind of manipulate the time and use it in a way that might be helpful for you. Like if you could either pitch that it would be not 3 weeks at all, and you only wanted, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks, or you could utilize one of those weeks in preparation for the performance. But we're open to all creative ways to use the space. Like we're kind of providing a formula, but we definitely encourage you to manipulate that. We had a good question as well from an artist on our Instagram about online exhibitions or long distance exhibitions, whether that was kind of something that we would take into consideration. And it is like those kind of creative ways of manipulating even the idea of having an exhibition are really interesting to us. So if you can show us like the feasibility and how it relates to your artwork of why it should be presented in these different ways, we're definitely open to that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Average install time is 3 days. So usually the previous exhibitions would be destalling. They close on Saturday at 6 p.m. and they would do takedown that evening or the Sunday, kind of crossing into Monday morning. And then the next group usually comes in on a Monday and then would install Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'd have the opening on the Thursday. So as I said, if people feel like they need longer times for specific reasons, it's great for us to know that. Could you possibly do 2 days a week if performance? Do you mean like to only open the gallery 2 days a week rather than Thursday, Friday, Saturday? If so, I would say yes. But as I said to Lauren, just incorporate the reasons why into your application, and I think it would be great. So if you were only going to open 2 days a week for a very specific reason, that maybe think about another way that people could interact with the show on that third day, or how you could use the space on that third day, whether it would be for inviting other people into space, like even with curatorial meetings or other artists. We're open to, as I said, being flexible with how it works. But it's just really great for us to know the reasons why, and that you've thought about all of those kind of avenues.
Could I come in with a question? Well,
Sure.
well, first of all, my situation is that I'm a ceramic artist, and I've been working in my studio for about 25 years. So I wouldn't be really at the beginning of my career as such.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also, what I was proposing, I have a lot of ceramic discs. They're 30 centimeters wide, and they weigh about 1.8 kilograms each, 1,800 grams each. And I was thinking I'd like to hang them on the walls of your gallery. And I wanted to, I did a solo show in Gardner Street in 2019. And it was all about the beauty of maths. So at the moment I'm exploring in my work about my love of maths. And I wanted to kind of like continue on from as part of my proposal. I was thinking I'd like to show some of that work and maybe some new work as well. And continuing on the exhibition I had in 2019 in Gardner Street.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my situation. I was hoping like that would still be suitable for the projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a perfect. I would just say we would usually try to not show exhibitions that have already happened in Dublin.
Yeah.
So because it is a continuation, to just like make sure you include information about how it's progressed and why you want like to show that progression.
Yeah.
And then other than that,
it's mainly, I mean, if you want, I can make lots of new work. I mean, it won't. Basically, I mean, I last shown most of this work in 2019. Would you rather I didn't show the work next year? That'll be 5 years later. I mean, is there a problem with that? Would I have to?
Usually we would suggest that people don't apply with exhibitions that have been shown in full elsewhere. So if it is a progression from that exhibition,
yeah, this would be a progression. Yeah, I wouldn't be showing it every last piece. I've sold some of the work, from it, so it wouldn't be in the entire body of work from 2019. Well, I don't know. No, I'm just saying that's an idea for my proposal. But my main thing would be at the moment I'd be continuing on with my exploring my love of maths and expressing that in 3D form. So is this possible? I will be making new work. Now I'll just leave to let the next person. I'll ask their question, because I've been long enough on the airways.
Thanks, Sandra. That sounds perfect. But just make sure to explain the new work and the old work and kind of how it would be presented together. And that sounds perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
No worries. So Donal, I see Mia has responded to you, but yeah, if anyone else is wondering about the size of the exhibition space, we have 2 maps on our website that show all the details, and it is one room, so with a door straight into the gallery. And it's there's a movable wall on a hinge, so the room can be split into kind of 2 spaces, and often people use the smaller half as a darker space if they did want to project or anything like that. But if you do have the option to visit the gallery, I definitely recommend that. We have an exhibition opening next Thursday, third, I can't remember which. So that will be running for 3 weeks. And then in December as well, we'll have a group show where there'll be 20 works in the space. So that's like 2 opportunities to see a solo exhibition and then a group show to kind of see how the space can change between that.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, in regards to the outreach aspect, do you need a support letter if you want an organisation to come in and give a talk, for example?
It depends. Like you wouldn't have to have a support letter, no. If you have one already, if you've already kind of started building those relationships, that's great. But it doesn't have to be there. If you have identified somebody that you'd like to invite in, that's enough for us, definitely.
I just want to ask one more thing about how technical does the application have to be? I kind of find it difficult to try show it, like in regards to trying to like Photoshop it into what it look like in the gallery and things like that. Do you like really look for that to be very efficient, I suppose?
Well, we're definitely not judging on like people's Photoshop skills for that. Like if you have a map, like we've had hand-drawn maps of the space, or like people cutting out images and literally like putting them on the page and taking a photograph of that. Like whatever way you find best to communicate is perfect. The main thing for us is just that we're able to understand your vision as best as possible. But no, it doesn't need to be like high tech or be the exact works. It's just helpful for us to see that you've thought about how it would look in the space. And then like often in terms of scale, or maybe with the colors that you'd use to create the atmosphere. Having notes about the lighting can be another thing that sometimes people don't think about. But yeah, no, it doesn't need to be like a 3D model of what the space is going to look like at all. It can just be a sketch so we can understand.
Sorry, I know I said the last question because of what you were saying. Do you let people paint the walls different color completely?
We have done, but it's always with the prerequisite that the artist returns the walls to white afterwards, because it can be really difficult depending on the paint used and the color used. So people have done different things. Like you can paint over the white wall with PVA glue first, so then when you put the paint on top, it hasn't like soaked in. But yeah, if you are interested in painting on the walls, I definitely just mention why it's important to paint on the walls, and maybe why you want to do it and how you would do it. But obviously it's like paint, but it has been done, and returned. But it does just take that little bit of extra effort to paint over it, depending on what it is.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so we're coming up to 10 to 7. So unless anyone has any questions, we might head off. And if anyone does think of any questions tomorrow or whenever, just feel free to email into info@palaceprojects.org. Tomorrow will be 4 weeks until the deadline. So it's at 5 p.m. In 4 weeks' time. And we're happy, like, especially if anyone has any questions about the accessibility application or what we can provide. Actually, I think I skipped that slide about, so accessibility fund from the Arts Council can also pay for if you want to have an event and you want, say, an interpreter to be there. So it can be either used for public access costs like audio description, interpretation, braille printing, etc. Or if any artists with disabilities, they can be supported for additional costs they may face in order for them to take part, which could be transport needs, additional support for installation, an extended installation, and then carer support. So if anyone has any questions about that, email us in, because we're trying to learn how to do that the best we can as well. Okay. If there's no more questions, I'm going to head on, but thanks so much. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.